So one of the top things I've been hearing about Americans from people all around the world, and even people here in America, is that we can be very entitled. And if you don't believe me, just listen here.
A bit of entitlement.
And here.
Just entitlement.
Yeah.
So I'm hitting the streets today in Tampa, Florida, and I'm going to be asking complete strangers here in America, are Americans entitled, and is there any truth to that? So without any further ado, let's start interviewing some people. My question for you today is, I've done a lot of traveling around, and a lot of people say that Americans are entitled. Do you think there's any truth to that? And why do you think people say that?
I think there definitely is some truth to that, but I think it kind of just depends on the person and their situation. I think it's easy for people to kind of grow up thinking the world was built for them and meant to kind of please them, but as you get older, you realize that's not really the case, and more so we're here to serve the world and to serve others. People who maybe still feel entitled just haven't had that awakening yet, and hopefully they will.
I believe there's not. You have to kind of work for what you have, and that's kind of how it's been in the American way.
Americans work hard. We work from the bottom all the way up. Nothing is given to you. You have to work very hard here in America. So people need to understand that. It's not just a given. Americans are very hardworking people.
I think Americans, they feel that they're at a point where they deserve certain things and all that, but sometimes they can overstep a little bit and be like, even though I didn't work, I still want, and you feel me? From a Caribbean point of view, all my life, like everything that I've seen, like my parents achieve and everybody in my family, they're humble and they're like, even though they get a lot, they still don't feel that they don't deserve an abundance of stuff and all that.
There are a lot of entitled Americans. I don't think it's intentional, It's just like the nature of the beast to an extent, Walk around and look around, get on social media, watch TV, there's a lot of entitlement everywhere you look. With Hollywood, the world moves so fast now, it's kind of hard to stop and appreciate a lot of things.
Definitely there's truth behind it. Definitely has to do with how parents raise their children. And we try not to raise our kids that way, but I think even our kids feel entitled. Compared to how we grew up, they're definitely way more spoiled. And they have literally no understanding about how much things cost that we buy them, like all their video games, all of that stuff. So even though we understand that, we still in a way are creating entitled individuals.
I do believe there is some truth to that. It is more expensive for Americans to travel places, right? Because we're only bordered by Canada and Mexico. Fortunately, I've been privileged enough to visit other countries and see how other people live, and getting to see what real poverty looks like, where little girls are banging on your taxi, 5-year-olds to try to get money, or their house structure is actually like a shack that literally could be blown over at any time. We have it pretty easy. Go to the grocery store, get food whenever you want, air conditioning. I think it's because, we push consumerism so much, and it's all about keeping up with the Joneses and stuff, that sometimes we forget just to be grateful for what we have.
There's a lot of people in the U.S., and not everybody is walking around with a sense of entitlement. A lot of people are struggling. Mental health is kind of an epidemic. People are just trying to survive and shit like that. There is a materialistic direction that the West in general has gone to, as opposed to a godly direction. But so that might contribute to it. I think people are just trying to live,
There is truth to that. I believe it's depending on what part of the neighborhood you go to, you're going to have people that are entitled or feel that they're entitled.
I think, yes, there's a certain level of truth to that, because I feel like most Americans, they came from a lifestyle of abundance, so they really never understand when people live a less privileged life. So they ask a lot of so-called first world questions. For example, if you're starving, why don't you have meat? Yeah. Things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Millennials are known and stereotypical, I'm one, for being entitled. When it comes to materialism, you're walking around the most beautiful area in Tampa Bay. It's brand new, $3 billion project.
Gorgeous.
And people here will wear designers they can't afford just to look pretty.
And just the last question is, how can we change that stigma of being an entitled country?
I would say that they need to come over here, and meet some entitled people and get to know them, not just judge them, but actually get to talk to them and know them. And then they would understand that we're really not entitled.
A couple examples, Warren Buffett and also Sam Walton. These guys were dirt poor. Now they have billions.
I think they can do things that are out of their comfort zone that don't necessarily serve any purpose to themselves. Like, you just do something out of the goodness of your heart for others, or do something that's really hard for you but benefits someone in another way. I think that's maybe one way to get out of that entitled attitude, but I think it's kind of a constant thing. I think we can all fall back into that very easily. So kind of like a daily battle. But yeah, getting out of your comfort zone, having different experiences, and trying to appreciate that other people have different experiences than you as well.
I think to not be entitled, we're all in our own season, honestly, so just be grateful and be thankful for where you're at, because honestly at the end of the day you're still breathing, you still have life. So from that point on, you should just be thankful that every day you get to wake up and see your light, you get to breathe again, honestly.
Equality, everybody feeling like they're equal. I feel like people need to all come together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to say it would be amazing if everybody could go, visit a third world country and see how good we really do have it here. And I don't know how to make that more possible. Just even giving back in our own communities that, we have definitely enough poverty here in certain pockets. So I think if we could get more people to give back, like Habitat for Humanity or stuff like that.
I'd like to say it starts with God, or a grounding in some kind of spirituality, a higher being, a higher purpose, things of that nature. But really, we gotta really work on mental health and, just find meaning and reconnect with nature and each other and stuff like that. Stop worrying about flaunting and,
Clout.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's how you're raised. I don't think that you can raise someone a certain way for majority of their life and then expect them to all of a sudden feel a certain way, or change their entire viewpoint. I just don't think it works like that. It starts from when you're born, honestly.
As far as what me and you can do to change it, I think you're doing a good job doing these kind of videos for sure, raising awareness and spreading positivity. I can't do that. I hate to dog on people, but there's just a lot of really bad parents out there. These are the kids that are going to control our country and, and our businesses and things like that's for real. So
I think changing the perception of entitlements. I feel like the modern social media has given it a negative connotations, and I don't think entitlement necessarily means to be a negative word or description to anyone. I think it should be more about self-worth, right, and confidence level, and what do you think that you deserve in life.
When Americans travel abroad, please stop saying pretentious things that gives other people the impression that everyone in America is like you. If you're going on a yacht, maybe don't try and be rude to the workers.
Don't make assumption that everyone else lives the way you do.
Well, there you have it. Are Americans entitled? Well, that's up to you to decide. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Also, let me know in the comments any questions or future video ideas you may have. I'd love to hear them. Thank you everyone who participated in the video. Thank you everyone for watching as well. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. But until next time, we'll see you in the next interview.